Friday.
Friday.
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'm doing well.
Welcome to Mojo Whiskey Bar. Thank you all for tuning in. So you picked up something today.
I did. Yeah. Back in December, Jesse and I went on a trip. We usually try to go on a getaway on our honeymoon, our anniversary. Yeah. My honeymoon never ends.
There you go. Congratulations to you.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure about Jessie. She might not agree, but you know.
Yeah. I don't know if she won the lottery.
You did.
I did.
I did too. Thank goodness.
Yeah. But we went to, on the way to Nashville, we stopped at the Jim Beam Distillery.
Yeah.
And I saw this bottle here of this rye that I have never heard of. I've never seen it anywhere else. It's a high rye. And a high rye, I mean, it's 80% rye, and I think 20% is a malted soft barley of some kind. So
okay.
It is...
it's an old brand.
It's an old brand. It ties back to its Pennsylvanian roots. So,
which rye whiskey, a brief history lesson here, of course, feel free to dive in and do your own research and comment anything that we miss or misstate or haven't expanded upon enough. But my understanding is back in the day, like we're talking late 1700s, early 1800s, a lot of the immigrants, especially to the Northeast and even into, those that migrated to Kentucky and Tennessee and what have you, had Scotch-Irish roots. Right. And so they were trying to mimic some of the Irish whiskey and the Scotch whiskey, but different ingredients that would grow here. And so rye whiskey was really, really predominant and popular, especially in the state of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, and this one, supposedly the recipe goes back to 1810. So it's going to be something different than we have probably tried. I
hope so.
Why we're going to try to do a more standardized Knob Creek 7 rye.
And both these are Jim Beam brands, so we can sort of compare and contrast within their portfolio, so to speak. I don't remember Knob's mash. I'm sure I could find it. But based on what you're sharing with me, it's different than, I don't think it says.
Let's see it.
But it's not, memory is that this is not anywhere near this.
Right.
And you said this is 80 rye?
Yeah, this is 80. 80 rye, where is it at? Right here. 80% rye grain, 20% soft malted barley.
So most rye whiskeys, not always, I guess there's no absolute about it, but there's going to be a corn element to it.
Yeah.
So there's no corn.
None. All right. Which is interesting. We've not had one with no corn at all, to my knowledge.
No. So do you want to start with that one?
No, let's start with Knob Creek.
All right.
Let's get a base on.
Calibrate.
Yeah.
This is so good.
It is.
It's been a long time since I've had it.
Knob Creek does a good job on just about everything they put out.
I agree. I mean, I think, you get into like the bourbons, you get into like the 15 and the 18 year.
Yeah.
You probably don't need to pay that kind of money.
To me, the wheelhouse is 12 here on the bourbon side.
12 year.
9 is really good. And 12 is just about where I.
Yeah. I mean,
from a cost standpoint.
I got a bottle of that 18 that I bought a while back that I haven't opened, and it's not that I haven't intended to open. I just haven't got to yet. So one of these days, maybe we'll dive into that. Okay. But I agree. Just about anything with Knob Creek on it. Now, I haven't tried their. They've got a maple.
I haven't either. But I have a friend who that's their favorite.
Really?
Yeah, that's their favorite.
Right.
Yeah.
Anything maple finish, I kind of steered away from, except for that time we had that Bearwalla one. So
that stuff is the best.
I might dive into that.
Yeah.
But Knob Creek, it's a go-to, man. It really is. All right, let's refresh everybody what their rye is like. Rye spice. This is classic rye whiskey to me. And you said, you wanted to find, something to kind of pair this with. To me, this is like quintessential.
Oh, this is it. Yeah,
rye whiskey. And if you ever have a chance to get their single barrel, a lot of store picks, like little places will have, mom and pop places will have store picks of their rye or even their bourbon. Get them; they're good. I still have one from
Who's Your Buddy?
Who's Your Buddy?
That was a good one. Too. Yeah.
All right, so classic rye. Baking spices.
Baking spices are very prevalent.
I think that's like the dominant.
Yeah, I was going to say that's dominant. Maybe a hint of some pepper.
There's always, to me, there's almost always, I almost throw in pepper anymore with a classic, rye nose.
But yeah, I mean, It can't get any more classic from
No,
rye.
this is pretty classic.
Let's see that.
It's 100 proof, which I think is a really good proof point for a good rye whiskey.
Those rye spices, pepper, the clove, up front right away.
Such a smooth drink, too.
And it's smooth. It doesn't burn all the way down.
I get hints of vanilla on this one.
Oh, yeah. Has a great finish. There's no bitter aftertaste in this at all.
No, there's enough of that heat that kind of like it kind of fills my throat and travels down, but it doesn't get all the way down.
Correct. It dies out. Yeah,
it dies out. But I feel like I'm getting a nice little throat coat hug.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good drink. It really is a good drink.
Yeah.
If you haven't had it, go get it because it's easy to find. I think they have a 10-year out.
They do.
Mm-hmm. Now that's probably going to be a little bit harder to find.
But the 7-year is a really good offering.
Yeah.
It's under $50.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so Knob Creek has done for their 9s, their 12s, 7 rye, done a really good job of keeping the cost where it is. Once you get to the 15 to 18, you're going to pay for that. That's why I've always said 12 is my wheelhouse on the bourbon side. 7 is probably going to be that.
Yeah, I don't even know what the 10 costs.
I don't either. I've not been one to pick it up, to be honest with you, because the 7 is so good.
Yeah, the 7's good. You're just not going to miss on that one.
Yeah.
All right, so now that's our calibration. Again, both these are Jim Beam products. I think one of the things that the Jim and some of the other brands have done a good job of as well is they sort of picked up old brands.
Yeah.
And this Overholt, to your point, established 1810, based in Pennsylvania. Now it's being made in Kentucky. But I like to think that they brought that recipe and that forward and want to continue that brand.
Right.
I've seen some old Overholt before. I've not had it.
I haven't had it either.
But Overholt doesn't seem that common of a name. I got to believe there's a connection there.
Yeah,
so.
I have never seen the Overholt.
No, I've never seen it.
And
I like the bottle because it looks old timey.
It kind of looks like it was a medicine on a
yeah.
And that could have been how it was used back then.
Yeah, very well could have. But I like the bottle a whole bunch. That's one of my favorite bottles.
Yeah, that's cool.
It really is. All right. We just cracked this one open too. Right? You haven't tried it either.
No. This is been kind of saving this one.
I mean,
the nose is oddly. It's a little different now.
It's a little different, yeah. I mean,
to me, the rye is richer. I don't know if that makes sense, but
there's all sorts of variants of rye. So
almost like a licorice in here mixed with the okay. So
definitely a star of anise. Maybe not so bold as a black licorice, which maybe it's semantics because those are similar. But I totally get that. And I don't like black licorice,
right?
But a little bit of sounds weird to say, but that star of anise or even a little bit of a licorice taste. It's almost like a sarsaparilla or root beer, like a good old like the crappy root beer we buy in a can today. But I'm talking the old time, the good stuff, like a sassafras tea. You ever have that growing up? It's got notes of that.
Years, I mean, the nose is really pretty good.
I like the nose a whole bunch.
I will say it's different than any rye I've ever had.
But this could be like the OG,
True. It could be. They could have been where it all started, right?
I mean, it was 1810. I mean, we weren't that old as a country then. Yeah. Rye whiskey was the rage in Pennsylvania. That was where rye whiskey really grew its roots, and then it kind of died off. I mean, we could be drinking some history here. I like the nose a whole bunch. So much so.
Too. And it gets better. I mean, as you...
Yeah, I get star of anise. I get rye spice. I get, a root beer-ish.
You do get a root beer-ish out of this. And it's one of the more pleasant rye noses that I've ever had.
There's some pepper there for me a little bit. All right, I'm tasting it. That's so smooth. What was the proof on that?
95. That is unbelievable
The
smooth.
moment that it hit my lips and my mouth, I was like, "Ooh, this is good."
And I didn't know what to expect with a 80% rye, 20% salted or soft
malted
barley.
mouthful there.
But because with no corn, the absence of corn altogether, it's one of the higher percentage ryes that I've had.
Yeah.
In just 2 ingredients.
I mean, sometimes you'll get a 95.5, but I mean, there's variance here. But a lot of rye whiskeys are going to have that corn element in it for sure. Soft malted barley for balance. I get that. I mean, a lot of the malted barleys of things that we've had before, they do add a little bit of sweetness.
They do.
It does really soften that out.
And you can pull out almost like a root beerish, licorice on the palate. I mean, yes, there's rye spice there.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But it has a different, and I really like their Don Creek 7. This is really good as well, though.
It's
different.
It's soft. It really is soft and subtle, and it's really smooth.
It really is. I mean, to be that heavy on rye and knowing one other ingredient to kind of offset the rye, that can be harsh. It can be bitter, and you don't get any of that in this. Yeah,
that is a good one.
Sarsaparilla. I mean, it's there. I mean, that is I can see where this would have been extremely popular in the 1800s.
I can only imagine. Well, I have to say that thanks for picking this up.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that. Do you know if this is a distillery only type thing?
I've never seen it. It's the only place I've ever seen it. But I'll tell you what, from a price standpoint, I think I paid $40 for that.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
That's not bad at all. That's kind of, to me, in that budget window. But I picked it up over others. I mean, because obviously if you go to Jim Beam, they're going to have everything. But this, I knew I wasn't going to find this on the shelf. At least I never have seen it on the shelf
I've never
before.
seen it.
So I grabbed this.
Because to me, that bottle would pull me in because, there's it feels old-timey.
It feels, the bottle, the label, everything. I mean, even the bottle itself is a color that kind of looks like an old-time medicine type of bottle.
It totally does. And even the shape and everything.
Yeah,
it's unique from that perspective. So,
but I'm glad I picked it up because
I'm glad you did too. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, from a rye standpoint, I've never had an offering quite like that.
Yeah, I dig it.
And it's the root beer taste. It lingers with you a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's good. That's a good offering, I think. That they
absolutely.
Pick
it up.
I hope you guys start to see this on the shelves. If I see it on the shelf, I definitely would buy this again.
Now I'm curious, more so than before, about the old Overholt that's the bottom shelfer. So,
correct.
Which we've talked about. We're just going to have to do it. So I think, maybe the next run of videos we'll get into is like, maybe we'll just dive into that bottom shelf. Because there's a lot of things. There's old Overholt. There's early times. There's Evan Williams. There's a few different variations. There's
very old Barton,
et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
We're just gonna have to do it.
We are. I agree.
mean, we're not gonna break the bank either.
No. I mean, gosh.
And these are great.
The crazy part is we could do one from $15 to $20 and have surprisingly decent offerings, and then $20 to $30. I mean, because at each pay pocket there is plenty of good offerings out there.
I agree, but this is a good find.
This is good. Yeah.
I mean, that's one I'd like to. I'm gonna have to get my own bottle.
Yeah. You may have to drive to Bardstown, but hey, there's a lot to do in Bardstown.
There is a ton to do there, so go check it out. Yeah. Anyway, we appreciate y'all tuning in. Again, if we already said so, another reminder: like, share, subscribe. Does us a huge favor and helps us out a whole bunch. We're going to keep bringing you some, hopefully interesting to you. Yeah. Definitely interesting to us anyway. Whiskeys. We're going to dive into some Irish. We're going to dive into some Canadians, maybe some single malt. So we're going to get away from home base a little bit, not just dive into the bourbons and ryes. Maybe try some things that aren't bourbons and ryes and explore that a little bit. Yeah. So, be fun.
And if you like these shirts, get a hold of John, get a hold of myself.
Yeah, I mean,
we can point you in the right direction.
The Nook, Trafalgar, Amanda Waddle.
Did a great job.
Yeah, she did a great job. She incorporated our logo and brought the font in, and we'll probably work on a few different variations of this over time. But for V1 T-shirt, I'm happy.
I'm happy.
Thanks, Amanda.
Thank you.
All right, thank you all for tuning in. Until next time.